Okay, well, I would like to just get started, and my name is Jan Paxman, and I am a registered nurse, and I am so excited to be joined by Michael Smith. He's a doctor, and also he is the web director for WebMD, right?
That's right. Yep. Medical director. Yep.
That's right. Medical director for WebMD. And we are so excited to be here with you guys tonight. And I'm so excited that Michael's here because of his expertise and all that he knows. How many of you guys, just raise your hand or comment in the chat, have ever gotten online and gone to WebMD? Oh, a few people. Yeah.
Yeah, a few people, I would imagine. And thank you. I've been there almost 19 years, so I have a big part in that website.
Do you think he knows a few things? Yeah. So we're pumped to have him tonight. So we're going to go ahead and just get started here. So we wanted to talk tonight about what really matters. Like how we want to talk about organizing our life around what matters most. And Michael, why don't you share a little bit about what matters most to you?
Yeah, so this is such an important point for us, and keep this in mind throughout the entire presentation, because yes, we're talking about stress, but we're talking about it because stress keeps us from being the person that we want to be able to do everything that we want to do, because we want to be able to organize our life around what matters most to us. Like for me, things that matter for me are my family. I love being on the water, as you could see, so boating, and keeping stress in check allows me to get the job done that I need to do so that I can actually make time for myself to do the fun things. Not that I'm perfect by any means. We all have our challenges, but just focusing in on that way kind of helps us keep moving forward.
Absolutely. I love that. And we thought we'd take just a minute. If you guys want to use the chat and just go through and maybe share with us what you feel is important to you, like what things that you would want to organize your life around. So it could be hobbies, obviously, probably, you know, family's important, whatever. Just go ahead and take a second and let's see what you say.
Yeah, Lynn says family, Debbie, near and dear to my heart. Being able to travel, hobbies and family, faith in God, of course. And parenting, yes. I mean, stress can really take you away from being there totally present for your kids, which parenting, which we'll talk about shortly, can be so stressful. Obviously, one of the best things you can ever do or be, but still, good things can be stressful too.
Right. And if you're stressed out all the time and struggling to find that balance, then sometimes these things that are so important, they kind of take the hit.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to help avoid if we can.
That's right. Again, bringing in what's most important to you and making sure that you have the mental wellness to focus on that.
Right. Wow. Grandkids, hobbies. I saw tennis. Yep.
Of course, love that one.
Good help, yeah. Traveling. These are all great things. All great things. Awesome.
Being active, yes, very cool.
Whoops, I went too far. Okay, well, so like we were mentioning, there's a lot of things out there when life happens that kind of keep us from being able to keep that balance, to keep centered. And so we kind of came up with a list of some of the things that trigger us and keep us not at our best. So some of these are work stress, marriage can be stressful, death of a loved one, divorce, loss of a job, financial obligations, chronic illness, raising children, moving, all of these things. There's tons more, but these were some of the top ones that came up that can really kind of throw a little kink in how we're managing. And so I'm really excited now to kind of turn it over to Michael, because he's going to help us understand kind of the stress response in the body and what that looks like. So Michael, take it away.
Thanks, Jan. And, you know, just to say a quick note about financial obligations, because repeatedly in surveys, money is always the number one stressor, right? Because it just impacts so many different things, our family, our livelihood, the ability to travel, like a lot of people were talking about. So, let's talk a little bit about how stress actually affects us. Stress is normal. You cannot get rid of stress in your life. And Jan's going to talk about a really different way of looking at that here shortly. But what is not normal is chronic stress. And in particular, the way that we respond to stress. Because like I said, stress is out there, but the way that we respond to it is what brings out that stress response, right? And this is an incredible number. 75 to 90% of all doctor's visits are stress related. It becomes abundantly clear why when we look at the reasons or the things that are associated with stress. So just in the short term, we have headaches, upset stomach, chest pain, elevated blood pressure, very common problems. Pain is in the long term. Back pain, one of the most common reasons that people go to the doctor. Now, when you look at the long-term effects of chronic stress, now it's not that stress necessarily causes these problems, but no doubt it's a big trigger for worsening of these problems, because you cannot separate your mental wellness from your physical wellness. It's just not possible. Whatever's going on up here is going to affect us physically, making headaches worse, our blood pressure go higher, contribute to heart problems. If you have diabetes, we know that stress increases the stress hormone cortisol, which increases blood sugar. Asthma can constrict our, stress can constrict our airways, causing worsening of asthma, worse pain with arthritis, and certainly stress is highly contributing to depression and anxiety. So a whole host of problems, right? But the good news is going to come, because we're going to give you some tips on how to deal with this. And more importantly, even if you have stress in your life, how to really undo the effects by just changing how you think about it.
Wow, awesome. Okay, guys, so we're going to try something new here. There was a video that I watched, and I don't know how many of you have ever heard Kelly McGonigal talk on TED Talks. She's a clinical psychologist that does a lot of research and works with a lot of people. And she had some breakthroughs. And I watched this video about a year ago, and this actually kind of changed the whole way that I thought about stress. And I really believe that it's true. And tonight we were going to try to break down the video for you and kind of tell you the highlights of it. It's called How to Make Stress Your Friend, but somebody made a condensed version of it. And so I whipped out my tech skills, and I'm going to just, we're going to go ahead and watch this. So let's see if you guys can hear it.
I have a
Raise your hand if
confession
you
to
can
make.
hear it.
For years, I've been telling people stress makes you sick. But I've changed my mind about stress. I want to change yours. Let me start with the study that tracked 30,000 adults in the United States for 8 years. And they started by asking people, how much stress have you experienced in the last year? They also asked, do you believe that stress is harmful for your health? People who experienced a lot of stress in the previous year had a 43% increased risk of dying. But that was only true for the people who also believed that stress is harmful for your health. People who experienced a lot of stress but did not view stress as harmful, they had the lowest risk of dying of anyone in the study. 182,000 Americans died prematurely from the belief that stress is bad for you. I want you all to pretend that you are participants in a study. You come into the laboratory. You have to give a 5-minute impromptu speech on your personal weaknesses to a panel of expert evaluators sitting right in front of you. Now, if you were actually in this study, you'd probably be a little stressed out. Your heart might be pounding, you might be breathing faster. Normally, we interpret these physical changes as anxiety, but what if you viewed them instead as signs that your body was preparing you to meet this challenge? Now, that is exactly what participants were told in a study conducted at Harvard University. And participants who learned to view the stress response as helpful, well, they were less stressed out, less anxious, more confident. Their physical stress response changed. Now, in a typical stress response, your heart rate goes up and your blood vessels constrict. But in the study, when participants viewed their stress response as helpful, their blood vessels stayed relaxed like this. Their heart was still pounding, but this is a much healthier cardiovascular profile. It's a lot like what happens in moments of courage. We need to talk about a hormone, oxytocin. Oxytocin makes you crave physical contact with your friends and family. It enhances your empathy. Your pituitary gland pumps this stuff out as part of the stress response. And one of its main roles in your body is to protect your cardiovascular system from the effects of stress. Your heart has receptors for this hormone, and oxytocin helps heart cells regenerate from any stress-induced damage. I want to finish by telling you about one more study. This study tracked about 1,000 adults in the United States, and they started the study by asking, how much stress have you experienced in the last year? They also asked, how much time have you spent helping out friends? People who spent time caring for others showed absolutely no stress-related increase in dying, 0. When you choose to view your stress response as helpful, you create the biology of courage. And when you choose to connect with others under stress, you can create resilience. Thank you.
Wow.
That's a lot of amazing information in 3 minutes.
Yeah, so that just shifted everything. And, you know, if we were to talk about the bullet points, I would say it's not that we don't have stress, but it's how we view it and think about it that matters. And that the stress response can be actually converted to one like we feel when we are experiencing courage. I love that because that's a different whole feeling, a whole different, I don't know, that just, it's a different whole mindset. And
Well,
when we connect, oh, go ahead, Michael.
I was going to say, it's such an amazing point that she brings up because for years, and honestly, still a lot of mainstream health and medicine people always talk about the damaging effects of stress. And like, it's kind of defeatist, like, well, then what are we going to do about that? We can't get rid of stress in our lives. So this research now shows that we don't have to worry about stress in our lives, but we can completely change how we view stress's effects on our bodies. Now, you're probably thinking, well, how can I change what I think about if stress is harmful to me or not? And by using some techniques that we're about to walk you through, you will realize how you can completely minimize how you feel that stress is affecting you. You can physiologically feel the stress levels going down, and just know that stress has a purpose in your life, and it does have the ability to make you better, to make you more courageous, and help you actually get things done as long as you can kind of change your mindset towards it.
Exactly. And you know, one thing that she also brought out that I thought was so interesting, Michael, was that the oxytocin, the hormone that she talked about that actually helps to repair that heart muscle, it's the one where we connect with people. And the fact that we're all on here together, let's see how many we got so far, 87 of us, we're all on here together means that connection, that people to people connection is what we crave, and it actually heals us when we do this. So yeah, there's more to community than just making it sound nice and warm and fuzzy. It actually does something.
It's real. I mean, there's a reason we call oxytocin the cuddle hormone, because when we're touching, when we're affectionate with each other, just in a friendly manner, right? It's just by the social connection, oxytocin goes up, and I wish we had time to go through all the amazing effects that oxytocin has on our bodies, but it's pretty amazing that we can do something as simple as socially connect and do such good for our health.
Exactly. Perfect. Okay, so let's go over some of the things we can do to help decrease and minimize some of the effects of stress. So we really do have power over the stress in our lives. So first of all, obviously, we get to eat well. And we're working on this in the challenge. It's so great that we all come together and we work on this. And we take each day as an opportunity to make it a little better than yesterday, right? And we learn, we get empowered, we make good choices, we chat about it, we connect, it's great. And also, you know, give yourself some time to slow down, take a break, and do something that you enjoy. Like yesterday, I went outside and I took time to go out into we have horses. And I took time to go out into the horse pasture and walk with my horse and talk to her and scratch her down. And that just filled me. Like just 10-15 minutes of it was just so good. And so I think that's important that we stop and take time for the things that we really enjoy. Michael, you want to talk about this next one?
Sure, and just about the take time for yourself. We often talk about this technique of stop, challenge, and choose, and we typically think about it in other ways, but you can use that to your benefit with your mental wellness. If you're feeling stressed out, just stop. Just take a quick break. Take some big, deep breaths, which we're going to talk to you about in a minute, and then just kind of think about how the events in your life are affecting you and how you might actually change your response to it. So, talking about the social connection, we know that talking about your problems, I hate that word problems, but it's just kind of what's going on in your life. You need to do that. You cannot just keep it all pent up. The minute you start talking about it, you're going to feel better because you need to feel your feelings, right? And I love this one. Go easy on yourself. Give yourself some grace. In today's world, we give ourselves so much crap, right? Like we don't even need anybody out there to come down hard on us. We're so hard on ourselves. You don't deserve that. Don't do that to yourself. Just go easy on yourself. And this one about identify and eliminate your triggers. Identify them for sure. Eliminate them where you can. Obviously, you can't get rid of certain triggers in your life, but you can change how you respond to them. So we often think in terms of like, the events happen, we can't affect those, right? But we can affect the outcome. And ways we can really change how our bodies respond to stress is some of the techniques on the next slide. But most importantly, just connect with people, connect with someone that you trust and that you can share with.
Awesome. I totally agree. And sorry, my computer's a little touchy. I got a little ahead of myself there, Michael. Yeah. Okay. So good. Such great tips.
All right. And then exercise, guys, I know it's sometimes not fun, but exercise is really one of the best things that you can do for your body. Now, if you're working with a health coach, make sure you check with them. Just make sure you're using exercise, the right type of exercise at the right time of your health journey. But we know that regular exercise has been shown to be as effective as antidepressants for mild to moderate depression. So that just shows you the power that regular exercise can have on you long term. Do something you enjoy, like listening to music. Stretch and relax your muscle. We often think of deep muscle relaxation. I wish we had time to take you through that technique, but it's called progressive muscle relaxation. Look that up. It's an amazing experience where you really focus on your muscles and progressively relax them. And by the end, you just feel like a little Raggedy Ann doll. And then deep breathing. This is kind of like mini meditation, guys. It's something we can do right here and now. I think we might actually do that.
Yeah, you bet. I just want to throw one thing in quick before we go on with the exercise. I think sometimes we think we have to like get a gym pass and go and pound it at the gym or something, and really honestly, it's about what you love. Find something that you really enjoy. If that means walking around the block, that's great. If you can be consistent at it and you enjoy it, then do it. Do things that you feel good doing. Don't do things that hurt. We don't want to have you get injured. Exercise is meant to feel good. I mean, you can push yourself, but you know where your limits are. But yeah, I love that. I love to dance too. So I like to crank up music and just dance. And it's amazing how you feel better. Those endorphins kick in and you just feel better right away. So yeah.
Standing up counts. I mean, honestly, there's this thing in our today's society called sitting disease. It's a real thing. We know people who sit for prolonged periods of time have a higher risk of all sorts of conditions, including even diabetes, heart disease, and cancer. But simply standing up frequently during the day, walking around for a minute, and then getting back to your daily whatever you're doing will make a huge difference in your life and your health.
Yep, that's fantastic. If you guys have something that you do or that you found is helpful, throw it in the chat so everybody can learn about it, and we can share. And speaking of deep breathing, I'm wondering, Michael, if I could twist your arm into actually doing a deep breathing exercise with us.
Sure, I'd love to. I love to do that anytime I can. I don't do it enough, and if I get a chance to do it now, absolutely.
Sweet.
All right, guys, it's simple. Deep breathing exercises are really easy. We can do it right here. You can do it sitting in a chair. If you're lying down somewhere, you can do that too. I'm going to keep my eyes open for a minute just so I can explain it. But you want to take both your hands. Make sure you guys can see me. Take your hands, place one on your chest, and one on your belly. All right, I'm going to sit back down. All right, because what we're doing what's called belly breathing, or the more technical term is diaphragmatic breathing. Basically means we're really filling up our entire lungs, because when we're sitting here breathing, we're really only using part of our lung capacity, and over time, not filling up the lower part of your lungs actually can almost make you feel short of breath, because you're just not used to really expanding it all. And when you're stressed, that gets even worse. All right, one hand on your chest, one hand on your belly. So slowly take a big deep breath in, and you can hold it for a couple of seconds and slowly exhale. Obviously, I can't do that while I'm talking, so let me explain it first. As you're taking that deep inhale in, you should feel your chest remain relatively still, but yet your belly should expand out, because that means you're really filling up the lower parts of your lungs. So let's just do that a little bit. You know, if you can, try to close your eyes and just really think about it and feel the breath expanding your entire lungs. Here we go. Deep breath in. Hold it for a couple of seconds. And just exhale slowly. Now let's do it again. Deep breath in. Make sure you feel that belly pooching out. Hold it for a second. And exhale. Really focus on how your body is feeling. You can literally feel it start to relax. One more time. Deep breath in. Expand that belly. And exhale. Very good. Honestly, you can do that anytime, anywhere. Take a few minutes, several times a day, and do that. And you will, again, as you do it, really focus on how you feel both mentally and physically. You are making real physiologic and real hormonal changes with deep breathing exercises. You affect your neurochemicals, the serotonin, which you probably heard a lot about associated with depression. So many benefits, health benefits that we don't have time to go into here, have been associated with these simple deep breathing exercises. All right, it's not something I do enough, but just think it in terms of mini meditation, and certainly you've heard how much that is good for you.
Definitely. That was awesome, Michael. Thank you. How many of you guys felt different? Just having taken a few breaths, just closing your eyes and just feeling that. Man, that's powerful. Wow. Very, very cool. Thank you so much for doing that. So let's just go ahead and throw it out there, guys. If you have some questions for us, please throw it in the chat. We've got a few minutes left, so let's see if we can answer some questions for you. Somebody, yeah, write down what you felt when you were doing the breathing exercises as well, if you'd like to.
Yeah, I mean, when you're relaxing, you're yawning, you're getting good air into your lungs and your brain. That's actually one of the benefits of deep breathing exercises too, more blood flow to your brain. So
good. That blood flow is so important.
Stretching is another wonderful way to relax your body. Again, we're still so much during the day. Get up, walk around, and stretch it out a little bit. One of my favorites, actually. Love that.
Very cool. Very cool. Somebody said they're a bit lightheaded. Yeah, a little oxygen, little hyperventilation, maybe, tiny bit.
When you do it, make sure they're nice and slow. You don't want to do it too fast, because that will cause you to hyperventilate. So make them, what some people even do, which you have to work yourself up, 4 seconds in, actually hold your breath for 7 seconds, and then like 3 seconds out. That's a long time. It sounds like a long time. It's actually pretty easy to do once you get used to it, and that forces you to slow it down.
Okay, we got a question about suggestions for coping specifically with eating triggers. I can speak to this. You know how we had the list in the presentation a little bit ago about things we could do to kind of help us work through the stress response? So I like to have kind of the same kind of list for what happens when I feel like I want to eat everything in the kitchen and the pantry. So I have this little, you can put it on a sheet inside your pantry door or something that's going to kind of stop you from doing something you wish you hadn't. And it's got a list of things on it that will help me get my mind off whatever it is, because usually it's not because I'm hungry, it's because I'm anxious about something. And I'm going for food to try to decrease that anxiety, but that never works because it may feel good for a minute, but afterwards the problem is still there and I feel crappy because I just pounded down something that was not serving me, right? So I have things like call a friend, call my coach, go for a walk, get out of the house, take a warm bath, read a book, crank some tunes, put in the Beach Boys and dance, clean out a closet. I know that sounds crazy, but it's therapeutic for me to organize. So if I just dump out everything in the closet and start putting it back in, I totally forget about whatever it was. And I feel so good when the closet's clean. So if there's something like that, or you guys can write down that menu for yourself of what to do when you feel that need to eat, that could be helpful for you.
Love that, Jen, because we know that eating triggers, cravings, aren't coming from our bellies, they're coming from here, right? So just figure out a way to deal with what's going on in your head, and I love that. So you're basically doing something you enjoy, distracting yourself, and all of a sudden, poof, that trigger seems to be gone.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and drinking a glass of water too, that is very helpful. Sometimes it's just that you're thirsty and you may think you're hungry, but if I drink a big glass of water and then start my activity, that will help as well. You're welcome. Any other questions, you guys? We're getting down to it. We're about 1 minute to go.
Somebody else likes to clean, so.
Yep, very satisfying. Yes. Well, okay, we have a question about when a child is combative with you and uses words that are attacking. And I think sometimes, learning to set up healthy boundaries with that child and go forward with your own life in a positive way is the best response for that situation. And you probably need more support for that than what we are able to give at this point. But I've just found as I move forward in a positive way with my life, and I don't feed into negativity that maybe my family throws my way for whatever reason, they find that they don't get anything for that. And they really are impressed that mom's going forward, whether I am or not. Doesn't mean I don't love them, but it's just that they can either come with me or they can sit and be miserable, but I don't have to. So I have 8 kids, so I've learned a lot of that in my day. Anyway, yes, lead with a positive response. Exactly. Yeah, just keep moving forward and lead with positivity. They'll figure it out.
And Megan Headspace is a wonderful deep breathing app. I just found it last night when I started.
Ooh, that's a great way. That's a great idea.
Starts very basic. I think the first day is 3 minutes. We all have 3 minutes, right? We all have time to relax our minds.
Yep, we do. Wonderful. Thank you guys for so much interaction. This has been so much fun. And Michael, it's been such a pleasure to be with you on this webinar. We hope that something that we've said has been helpful for you, and hopefully you can use it in the future, but that you can look at stress in a whole new way and be able to really center your life around what matters most. So thank you.
Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful, stressless evening. Bye.
Bye-bye.